Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itina Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarisha Tarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarisha Tarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Pracha Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Pracha Janaranjana Jaya Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Nitai Sachisundar, Nitai Sachisundar, Nitai Sachisundar, Jaya Nitai Sachisundar, Nitai Sachisundar, Nitai Sachisundar, Nitai Sachisundar, Jaya Nitai Sachisundar, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, welcome. Amit, beautiful to see you here tonight. Are you well?
Karanga. I am well, Karanga. I had the flu, Karanga, over there.
Oh, you have the flu.
Yeah.
That means you have to stay at home. Don't infect anybody else, and drink some Brahmastra. Means lemon, loads of ginger, and a bit of honey.
Yeah.
That will help you, and whatever on medications you take. Are you in pain?
No, not now. I was just coughing and sneezing and feeling
Yeah,
very
yeah.
uncomfortable. And my coughing is eased up a lot now. And but it's just lingering on a bit longer, you know. I'm on the
Yes,
mend.
stay at home. Be on the mend, and in a week's time, you will feel quite differently. Okay, we wish you well. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Amrita Radhimata Rituan Prabhu. Are you well?
Hari Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Rituvan Vihari Prabhu is in his hospital. He is still on his duty.
Yeah.
I'm here and we are all doing fine. Thank you. Hari
But
Krishna.
you are there and Padma is there. That is quite something.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, and welcome Prakash is also there. Hare Krishna. So tonight we have your Bhagavad Gita talk, class, whatever we call it. What verse have you? Are you ready? Amrita Radhe?
No, Prabhu, I can maybe add some things, but I've not thought of a class, unfortunately.
You what? Say it again.
I couldn't manage to do it, Prabhu. Sorry, couldn't
Okay,
plan.
no problem. Do it for next time.
Okay, Prabhu, I'll text you when I'm done. I'll text you.
Yeah, text
Hare
me
Krishna.
before next Wednesday. And which verse are you looking at? No problem. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk on a Bhagavad Gita verse. What verse would you like me to talk? Amit, do you know any verse? Any Bhagavad Gita verse?
Bhagavad Gita is such a big, so many verses. I'm trying to think of one.
Yes, you have to think very quick because Amrita Radhimadashi, she is very quick. Amrita Radhimadashi, what verse can you think of?
So I think that one what really stuck in my mind as well is the one which is the I need to sorry I think it's in chapter 2 um,
Okay,
and
chapter 2
it,
is a good one. Yes,
yeah, chapter
my
2 was
favorite.
quite we focused on that a lot. Is the at night, you know, where the sages are illuminated, and
What?
at night at the night is when you know sorry, Prabhu, I wish I was near my just because I was working today, so I'm just away from my Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
The one where when Sage is when he sleeps, he then
Yes,
has to become Krishna consciousness. Um,
give me a moment. So, do you mean the planets are not illuminated in Vaikuntha by
I
sunshine or
think Prabhu,
moonshine?
Amit Prabhu means the one in which when the world is asleep, the sage is awake, and when the sages are awake, the world sleeps. There's one verse, right, Prabhu?
yes, yes,
I
that's
think
the one.
that's what he means.
Yes, that's the one.
It's a difficult one to understand in a sense, but actually
I'll
it's
I'll
very
try
easy.
and search, Prabhu. Just give me one.
What verse is it?
Let me find 1 minute. 1 minute. I was just in the away from my Bhagavad Gita. Let me just get my Gita.
Is that the one awakening is a time for the self-realized soul? That one?
Yes, yeah,
Yes. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening
yes,
for the self-control, and the
yeah,
time of
that's the one.
awakening for all beings is a night for the introspective stage. Yes, we haven't
Yeah.
really stressed that very much, so we'll do that now. Okay, let's. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Chakarti Samyami Yasyam Chakrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Menehe. Translation. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Welcome, Chayanti Bai. So, just hearing this translation, only the translation, we are completely puzzled. Right? It is very puzzling. What does that mean, night for all beings and awakening? And let's hear the purport Srila Prabhupada has to say, and that will clear up a bit more. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic man. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas a man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. Okay, here we get quite a little bit more. We all know that self-realization or Krishna consciousness means waking up. Shiv Chago, Gaura Chandra Bole. Wake up, sleeping souls. The consciousness is there. Krishna consciousness is within everyone. Everyone is Krishna conscious, but it is covered in so many ways by ignorance. So the materialistic person who has no inclination for introspection, who has no inclination for meditation, who has never looked inside himself, I think we can quite imagine such a person. Hopefully not ourselves, which is not, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But we have been such a person, or we know other people who such a person. So everything is outside of themselves. Everything is outside. They keep themselves busy with activities outside themselves. They're never introspective, meditative. They never look inside themselves. And if they look inside themselves, what do they see? They see muscles and skins and bones and a stomach and the liver and kidneys, and that's all what they see inside themselves. But that is not inside themselves. Then that is not what we're talking about. Inside ourselves, we have to find out who we are, who we really are. That is the first ABC of spiritual evolution. And that is an important point, evolution. It's not that we reject evolution. Sometimes devotees get that idea, Darwin's evolution. We reject evolution altogether. We don't reject evolution. In fact, evolution, the whole concept of evolution comes from the Vedas. So Charles Darwin, the great evolutionist who has speculated that out of a monkey, after giving enough time, a human being is created. We're changing from one body into another. And an animal without wings, then given enough time, becomes a bird, an animal with wings. And he speculated there are the link between an animal without wings and an animal with wings. The link is missing. We'll find the link in the future. But after a few hundred years of Darwin, 200 years perhaps, the missing link is still not there because it doesn't exist. It's not that like a graphics program, one form is merging into another form. It is not like that. These bodies are available because Darwin, he took the concept of evolution from the Vedas, but he did not take the spiritual side of evolution. That he could not understand, or he eliminated that. Evolution means we, the living entity, the consciousness, we moving from one body into another. At the time of death, according to our karmic reactions and activities, we are awarded by material nature, we are awarded another body. Not in this lifetime, our body suddenly, or nobody has ever observed that. Look in the zoo, there is some monkeys. Have we ever observed a monkey in the zoo? Suddenly, after a few years, he becomes a man. You've never seen that. Nobody has ever seen that because it doesn't happen like that. The bodies are there. And we changing the body according to our karma. When we take another birth, then if we come through the monkey or through the cow or through the tiger, lion, then we might be rewarded a human form in the next lifetime. So there is evolution. It's coming from the Vedas, and Darwin took it from the Vedas, and he declared it my theory. Not his theory. It's already there. He stole it. He just took it and changed it. So, but evolution is not stopping there. That nobody is explaining that. That evolution, okay, we come after evolution through so many species of life, we arriving at the point of getting awarded a human form of life, a human body. There are different human bodies, 400,000 different types of human bodies. Bodies with black skin, with white skin, with yellow skin, with slanted eyes, with dark hair, and all kind of different categories of human bodies, 400,000. So, but evolution is not stopping there. Where does it go? Where does evolution go? Maybe some materialistic person will think evolution goes, we are we're becoming more intelligent. We know how to make atom bomb. That's the evolution. No, the evolution of consciousness. Because in the lower species, let's say in the trees, the consciousness is almost not present. It's covered. It's present, but it's covered. Therefore, trees are in the mode of ignorance. So it is there, the consciousness, but very much covered. So much covered that is hardly detectable. A tree cannot walk. A tree cannot speak or move around. All of this. A tree cannot. It stands in one space. And he is eating with his feet. Srila Prabhupada once, he walked and he said, stopped. There were some trees in the park and he stopped and said, who is eating with his feet? Nobody of the disciples could answer, who is eating with the feet? Then Srila Prabhupada said, the tree. The tree is eating with his feet, with the roots. The other day I was walking in a park and there is a lake and there are some trees standing in the water in the lake, quite a bit in the water. And I thought, what poor fellows. They're standing in the water for maybe all year or at a good part of the year. Maybe in the summer the water recedes and they're standing not in the water, but it's not a very nice situation of standing with your feet in the water. In the summer it can be, of course, an advantage because there is nourishment there, but yes. So that is a lower form of consciousness. And when the consciousness evolves, then we're coming from the plants and from the trees, we're coming to the reptiles and the birds and the mammals and eventually to the human body. Then the consciousness is quite much more developed because as a human being, we can understand who we are. We can understand who we actually are. We can look at our mind. We can speak about Krishna. We can discuss philosophy. So many things. Of course, if someone is only outwardly a materialistic person, is only concerned with the outside, with his family, with his car, with his house, with his worker, and so many external things which he can see, touch, hear, smell, and taste. If someone is only concerned with the five senses and making these five senses feeling some sort of satisfaction, then he is not better than an animal. Because animals also see, animals also smell and taste and touch. That's also there. And animals have also families. Not only we have families, animals have families. We have seen many films and videos and documentaries where animals have sophisticated families. Welcome, Rituan Prabhuji. So, that is there. Animals do have a social system and so on. So the point is, if we only take care of what get pleasure and happiness from what our senses are contacting, there is a certain excitement. If we see something nice, there's a certain excitement and satisfaction within the mind. If we touch something soft, it's the same. If we smell some nice scent, we feel good about it. And if we taste, what you speak, if we taste some good food, then we are very happy. But if that is all our so-called pleasure comes from the senses, then we are not better than the animals, because the animals do the same. They touch, they smell, they taste, they see, they hear, same thing. But the human being is supposed to be more developed. The human form of life, one needs to eventually come to the point of asking himself, where do I come from? What is my purpose of being here? What is the goal of life? Where will I go? I see people dying. Where are they going? I will also die. Where will I go? Now, these are questions the animal cannot ask. No animal, however intelligent, and they are quite intelligent animals, and elephants, and I saw recently a short video of a crow. She wanted to get she wanted to get something to eat, some insect or what it was, and she used some tool. She had a kind of a straw which she put in her mouth, and she used some simple tool to get that maggot out of the crack. So they are intelligent, but all their intelligence is focused on eat. And what to speak of sex. That is their intelligence is focused on that. So we, in the human form of life, we can ask, where do we come from? Where does that whole show come from? We see the stars, we see the moon, we see the sky, we see the seasons are changing, we see people growing up, babies are growing up and becoming mature, teenagers. And all of that, where is it coming from? How does it work? Who made all that? All the planets spinning around in perfect order. Well, who has created that? So the human being should ask this question. What is the purpose? There must be a purpose for all of that. There must be a purpose for my existence also. Or is a purpose only to eat, to sleep, to engage in sex life, to touch, to hear, to taste? Is that all? What is it all about? Animal life? No, I have a human form of life. Higher developed. There must be more to it. So, spiritual life starts, the Shastra says, spiritual life starts when we ask this question. Where do I come from? What is the purpose of me being here? Where will I go? What is the purpose of life? These are the questions. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people are asleep. They are asleep, as this beautiful verse is telling us. What is night for all beings? That is night. They're asleep. They're asleep to self-realization. That is a time where the introspective devotee is awake. He's awake to self-realization. We, speaking many times, we want to awaken people because they're asleep. They're asleep, they don't know who they are. They're acting just on the bodily platform, but there are much more. Not only the devotees are much more. Everybody is much more. There is potential. Everybody can understand what is the purpose of life. It's not just devotees. Everybody has that potential. So we're trying to awaken people. Wake up, Chief Jago. Wake up. And in so many ways, we're discussing with people. What do you think is the purpose of life? And they're coming, eating, drinking, and be merry. And then we'll come with various arguments. So many arguments. If we have been trained a little bit in Krishna consciousness, we can meet those arguments. And if we have been very much trained in Krishna consciousness, we can stand up to all the arguments, any arguments of the greatest philosophers. Nobody could defeat Srila Prabhupada. Nobody ever. Because he was so learned. And he had an answer to everything. And people eventually they got convinced or they conceded. I'm defeated. So, waking up, that is a business of a devotee. The devotee himself wakening up and wakening up others. And here the verse tells us one needs to be self-controlled. What does that mean? The introspective sage or the devotee, the sadhu, the bhakta, is self-controlled. He's awake to the spiritual side of things. He's awake. Why everybody is asleep? So this verse is not talking about we lying on the bed and sleeping at night and we waking up in the morning when the alarm clock goes off. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about spiritually asleep or spiritually waking up. Waking up again to who we really are. It's not such an easy thing, who we really are. Not only we have to understand theoretically who we really are. That is the easy part. But we have to also, in all practicality, we have to realize who we are. I came across a very interesting short paragraph which I like to share with you. Where is it? Okay. Srila Prabhupada says, enjoyment means two, Krishna and you, the super soul and the individual soul. That is the way. You cannot enjoy alone. That is not our position. So even in a mundane way, enjoyment means two. Alone, there is no enjoyment. I've given that example. You can have all the riches of the wealthiest person, all the wealth in the world, everything you can have. But you are the only person on the entire globe, the only human being. Would you be happy? Of course not. How can we be happy alone on the planet Earth, even with all opulences, everything? But we are alone. We want to share our happiness with others. So here again, enjoyment means two, Krishna and you, the super soul and the individual soul. That is the way. You cannot enjoy alone. That is not our position. And of course, we are not alone. Krishna is there within our heart. So even on the mundane plane, Krishna is there. So, self-controlled. We touched on that a bit. The devotee who is awake, spiritually awake, is self-controlled. That is important. He's self-controlled. How is he self-controlled? He is self-controlled in his eating, in his sleeping, in his controlling his sex drive, in his seeing, in his hearing, in his touching. That is a self-control. So how is he self-controlled in his eating? He is eating only which has first been offered to Krishna. Nothing else. That is self-control. He is not overeating. He's controlling his tongue and he's controlling his belly. The belly is full and he stops eating. That is self-control. And the tongue has two features. The tongue wants to always taste nice food stuff, and the tongue wants to talk so many nonsense. Constantly talking. Sure, we all have met some people that constantly talk. There is no break in between. They talk. If you're listening or not, they just talk. They have to get it out. The tongue is just constantly, I have met people. The tongue is constantly vibrating and talking about this or that, anything really, yeah? But constantly talking. And for their own satisfaction. I don't know if people are talking when they're all alone at home, perhaps. But when they're with other people, they just feel they have to talk, non-stop. You can be listening or not, they will keep on talking. It's a pushing of the tongue. That is, Shastra explains, a pushing. The tongue is pushing. There is some pushing there. Just like the sex drive. There is a pushing there. The genitals want to be engaged. They want to be satisfied. The tongue wants to be satisfied by tasting, always tasting. Oh, let me taste this. Let me taste that. Or let me taste something new, something else. And they go into the restaurant and eat all kind of abominable food. So it's a self-controlled devotee. He's not eating all kind of abominable food. He's still eating. Eating we have to, but he's only eating Krishna Prasad. So there is a regulation there. Regulated eating means eating Krishna Prasad. Regulated sex life means for the sake of begetting Krishna conscious children. And so on. So this is the self-control. And materialistic people, here Krishna says, in the time of awakening for all people is night for the introspective sage. So when everybody is awakened, when everybody awaken materialistically, engaging in so many material activities in the pursuit of sense pleasure, then in that sense, the devotee, that is night for the devotee. That means the devotee is not interested. He's not interested at all. He has found something much, much more better. The devotee is not interested what the material happenings and activities of sense gratification. So that is the main meaning of this verse. I hope it is a little bit clearer what you say, Amit.
Yes, no, Prabhu, it is clear. Yeah, I think it's a powerful
Verse.
Powerful verse.
Yes.
So Prabhu, just one thing. If you just scroll down.
Yeah. Scroll down. Okay. That's the end of it.
No.
Scroll up.
Yeah, scroll up. Sorry, yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
And then there's a second, when you say second part, the night and the time of awakening for all beings is night.
Okay, when the time of awakening for all beings means when they can get some sense pleasure, when they can fulfill their lusty desires. That's the time. Then they're very much awake, right? So materialistic person, you're talking about spiritual or self-realization, they're almost falling asleep because they cannot relate to it. But as soon as you talk about money, women, movies, are very much awake. That's their time of awakening. Oh, they're awake very much. If the senses are stimulated, okay, here you can get some free sense pleasure through the tongue. Here, free food. Here is a restaurant. Whatever you want, any dish, it's free today. Oh, very much so. Or the sales are on. Boxing Day sales. So many people, congestion, traffic, they're all running into the shopping center and buying and buying and buying and buying. So they're very much awake for this kind of activities. But the devotee, that is night, means he has no interest in that. He's not taking part in that.
Okay.
That is a night for the introspective sage, means a devotee.
Mhm.
Yep. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Prabhupada.
What I wanted to say before I got kind of diverted, evolution is not stopping. It's a human form. The next step of evolution is evoluting to get our spiritual body. The materialistic person cannot even think of that. But the introspective sage, the devotees, the sadhu, the sage, he, by suitable practice, the yogi, is developing his spiritual body, right? It's a spiritual body. That is probably interesting. We have touched on that. Spiritual body, why, let's put it like that. Why our pants has 2 legs, 2 openings? Because we have 2 legs. Why our glove, now in the winter it's cold, we put some gloves on. Why our gloves have 5 fingers? Because we have 5 fingers. So it takes it one level further back. Why do we have 5 fingers? Because our spiritual body has 5 fingers. Why do we have 2 legs? Because our spiritual body has 2 legs. Though there is a body, and sometimes people talk about subtle body, and like that, it's not just our spiritual body is just a light. We, the soul, is just some light or something, some energy. No, it's not. There is form. Our spiritual body has form. Right? So that is why we have form. Krishna has form, 2 hands, 2 legs. Why? We have form. Because Krishna has form. Because whatever is in this material world has its origin in Krishna, in the spiritual sphere. So our spiritual body has form. But that form is not a material form. That is an eternal form. And like Bhagavad Gītā, Lord Krishna says the soul cannot be dried by fire, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be withered by the wind. Nothing can destroy the soul. And the soul means our spiritual body. But our spiritual body at the moment, it's covered. Like the body, the consciousness is covered in the lower species of life. So even in the human form of life, our spiritual body is still covered. But as soon as we wake up more and more and more, we're climbing up the evolutionary ladder more, not stopping by what everybody sees right now. It's a development of consciousness. We living in the spiritual body, even while being present in this material form. The spiritual body, as we progress in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual life, the spiritual body develops within her. Or better to say, the spiritual body gets uncovered more and more and more. And eventually, we leave this material body behind at the time of death. And we take shelter of this spiritual body. We carry on existing in that spiritual body, and then we are eligible to live in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. It's very simple. If we not have developed our spiritual body, our spiritual consciousness, then we have to take another birth in a material body. And again, and again, and again, until we make that evolutionary jump and develop our spiritual consciousness and our spiritual body, then we are fit to go to the spiritual world and live in that spiritual body. And the spiritual world, we have so much information. It's full of variety. Let's say Vaikuntha. They're all the inhabitants of Vaikuntha. They have 4 arms, just like Lord Narayan, and they're constantly serving Lord Narayan in various ways. They're spiritual airplanes. They have concerts, wives' concerts, but because they're so Krishna conscious, they're not interested in any kind of mundane sexual activities. They have concerts side by side, and they're serving the Lord. That is there, and beautiful palaces are there, and beautiful Vaikuntha is full of opulence. And that verse, which I thought you were asking for, Amita, there is no sunshine in Vaikuntha. There is no moonshine to illuminate. Now, at the moment, we have almost full moon. So the moon is shining. So in Vaikuntha, there is no need for sunshine and moonshine because everything is spiritually shining. Everything is spiritually illuminated by the rays, the bodily rays coming from Lord Vishnu, from Lord Narayan. So that is Vaikuntha. And likewise in Goloka, in the topmost planet, where Krishna plays his pastimes with his cowherd friends and the gopis, and his relationships with Nanda and Yashoda and so on. Likewise, everything is blissful and everybody is in a spiritual body. And the spiritual body, we can do many things. The spiritual body, we can, not like here, you are Amita, or I'm Gauranga Sundara here. I cannot, except if I'm a yogi, I can, by loads of lifetimes after lifetimes of yoga practice, I can expand up to 8 times my body. A yogi, accomplished yogi can ashta siddhi 8 times, ashta, 8 mystic perfections. He can become smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest. He can take anything from anywhere. Just imagine how attractive that is, even for the materialistic people. That's very attractive. Oh, I want to be able to take anything from anywhere. I would just take the Mercedes of the Prime Minister and take it and put it in my driveway or something like that. That people would find very attractive. But the yogi can actually do this. These are not stories. These are mystic perfections. And there is a story where one disciple talked to his guru, and that was not so long ago, not more than 50, 100 years ago. And he said, my guru is an accomplished yogi. One day I asked him, I would like some, that was in India, of course. One day I asked him, he said, what do you want? What do you want? I said, I would like some pomegranates from Kashmir. That was in the winter. No pomegranates from Kashmir. Nothing, not growing pomegranates. They're growing in a certain season. And then the yogi guru, he said, okay, go to the next room. And the disciple went to the next room, and there were pomegranates from Kashmir. So yogi can do that. He can bring anything anywhere. He can also go smaller than the smallest, and we know Hanuman, he went through the keyhole. He shrunk himself. These are not stories. These are actual mystic perfections, cities. Unfortunately, the yogis want to just show off with that, and that has no value. We know not only in India, we know in the Bible, Jesus Christ at one point, he walked over the water. He walked over water. That's another mystic perfection. To become lighter than the lightest. Walked over water. So people try that with all kinds of tricks. You see sometimes some videos where people kind of, by tricks, are walking on the water, but they're not actually walking on the water. And there's a nice story in this connection as well. It was a village. There were friends, 5, 6 friends, They were very intimate, and after their schooling was completed, they went different ways. The 5 boys, they stayed actually in the village, but one of the boys, he said, I want to learn more. He went out into the world. And after many, many years, he came back and everyone's happy. Oh, you're back. Where have you been? We missed you so much. And he said, I have been traveling all over the world and I have met yogis, and said, what yogis? Or what have you learned? What have you accomplished? I mean, we are now married, we have family and children, and you are all alone. So what? He said, no, I can walk over water. What, really? Yes, I learned from my yogi guru. I got this mystic perfection. I can walk over water. And show us. And he walked over water. And then he very proudly said, so what do you think now? What is it worth? I mean, I spent 30, 40 years of my life to come to that. And you just spent life in family affairs and children and sense enjoyment. And I did great austerity. Because to get these mystic powers, one has to do great austerity. One has to do the Ashtanga yoga process of meditation for extended long times and so many things, so many rules. So what is it worth? He asked them. So one boy said, well, 20 paisa. Anybody from India knows paisa is just, how much is 20 paisa? Amrita Radhe, Mataji. How much is 20 paisa today?
Today we don't use that coin anymore, but actually 1 rupee is equal to 100 paisa.
Okay.
So 20 paisa is just very little, but you can't buy anything with it now.
It's kind of penny or something?
Yes.
Okay. So the boy said, when asked how much is it worth of spending his 30, 40 years of, and finally he's accomplished, he can walk over the water. And the boy said, well, 20 paisa. And he was, what, you joking? Why are you saying 20 paisa? Because 20 paisa, I pay the boatman and he also gets me over the lake. It costs 20 paisa. So therefore I said 20 paisa. That's what it costs to get a boatman and to get me on the other side of the lake. So this little story just shows what is it worth? What is it worth? The mystical perfection of traveling in the air. We have that. With the airplane, we can already travel in the air, and so many other things as well. So these are pretty useless. So we're speaking about developing our spiritual body and living in our spiritual body, not anymore needing a material body. That is the next step in evolution. There is where evolution goes. Evolution doesn't go, we're growing bigger and bigger and stronger and more intelligent. No, evolution is the evolution of consciousness. And in the spiritual world, you don't even have to ask for something. You just think of something, immediately is there. And you not only can expand yourself 8 times like a perfected yogi can do, unlimited times. There are instances of devotees who are present in Goloka Vrindavan and at the same time they also have a presence in Vaikuntha. And so all this is all possible. Anything and everything is possible in the spiritual realm. And there is a kind of telepathy. We know here a little bit from scientific experiments that telepathy, you think of something and someone else can pick that up. That is a normal way of communicating, sir. That's a normal way. You just think of something, the other person immediately knows. You don't even have to say. So that is the next step of evolution. Therefore, it is so important that we moving ahead in our spiritual life as much as we can, and not coming back and taking another material body. What is the use of taking another material body? We already have taken so many material bodies. So why chewing the chewed? Like it is said, chewing the chewed. Let's say a chewing gum. Everybody knows what's a chewing gum. We're chewing a chewing gum until there is no more taste. All the flavor has gone out. Okay, you put it aside, and next day you take the same chewing gum and chewing it all day, and that for a whole year. Chewing the chewed, what had already been chewed, and chewing it again and again. There is no taste anymore. Taste has evaporated. Taste has gone out. So, why taking another human form of life? It's just like chewing the chewed. Of course, we're thinking, I'll take another human form of life and I'll enjoy in the heavenly planets. There is so much opulence, so much riches, long lifetime, so much sense pleasure. But ultimately, it's chewing the chewed. So we enjoy on a much higher platform of opulence than here in this material world, but still, sex enjoyment is sex enjoyment, and tongue enjoyment is tongue enjoyment, and enjoyment of the eyes and the ears, it's just the same. And enjoyment of the stomach, it's just the same, either in a sophisticated way or in a very simple way. Nowadays, we want, or people want, we not, we living a simple life of tapasya and austerity to develop in spiritual life. But people spend a lot of money just for sleeping culture. Very big sleeping arrangements, very special beds, and I mean, you look just what is advertised in the shops. How much effort and money you could spend of having some really comfortable and wonderful sleeping arrangements. But when we sleep, we forget. So what's the point of making elaborate sleeping in a king's bed? The dog is sleeping on the street. What's the difference? Not much. When we sleep, we have forgotten. We are not aware. We're lying in a king's bed, a golden bed, or we're lying on a simple mattress. We have forgotten. So that's a heavenly planets. The sense enjoyment is multiplied by 1,000 times. So even if we want to go to the heavenly planets and enjoy, it's still chewing the chewed. It's just the same thing over and over again. That's what everybody tries. I want to achieve a higher standard of enjoyment. Even in the material world, everybody is trying to get a higher standard of life. If you have one small house, then you want a bigger house. It's too small. A bigger house and a bigger house and a nicer house in a better area, and constantly improving, another car, another TV, a bigger TV, bigger, more expensive, greater. So that's just like the desire of the heavenly planets, higher enjoyment. But ultimately, it is chewing the chewed. And we are sleeping. We are not awakened for spiritual life. We are not awakened our spiritual body. We have to just come back again and again. Eyes in the heavenly planets, and after the heavenly planets, we have to come back anyway to this material world again. We have to fall down because our pious credits, which we have accumulated, which afford us to go to the heavenly planets, they will be finished. It's like with a bank account. We're saving up, and we get a lot of money in our bank account, and then we stop working and we're just going on a spending spree. And we just spend and spend and spend and living a high life. And after some time, that bank account is depleted. No more money. Okay, back to square one. Yeah, it's a very nice story in this regard, which Srila Prabhupada told us. One day there was a yogi and some villager. No, not a villager. A cat came to him. No, a mouse came to him. My dear sage, because everybody wants material blessings from sadhu. Everybody. I have witnessed that also. People come, oh, bless me. Bless me that I pass my driving test. Bless me that my marriage will go well. Bless me that I will get a new car. Bless me this, bless me that. So everybody comes for material blessings to a sadhu. Of course, sadhu is not meant for material blessings. It's meant for spiritual blessings. But people approach sadhus for material blessings. So that mouse came to the sadhu and she was distressed. The sadhu asked, what's the matter? What do you want? Sir, the cat is harassing me. So, can you make me a cat? Okay. Just a moment. I'm getting a dry throat. So the yogi made him into a cat. The yogi could do that. And the mouse, which is now a cat, happily she walked away. But after a day or two, in the form of a cat, she came back to the sadhu. And he said, Sir, the dog is harassing me now. Can you please make me into a dog? You could make me into a cat, from a mouse into a cat. Now surely you can make me into a dog. So I don't have to be harassed by the dog anymore. Okay, sadhu made him into a dog. And after some time, he came back and he said, now I'm harassed by the tiger. Can you please make me into a tiger? So I don't have to be afraid of the tiger anymore. Okay, you become a tiger. And he became a tiger. And then he looked at the sadhu in a kind of strange way. And then the sadhu, the yogi, said, what do you want? Why are you looking at me like that? Do you want to eat me? And the tiger said, yes. And then the yogi said, okay, become a mouse again. So he made him to a mouse again. So if we don't make spiritual progress and we just spend our valuable time of getting material comforts and a bigger TV and a bigger car and a bigger house and a bigger this and a bigger that and buying. If we are in that kind of consciousness, it will become a mouse again. No spiritual progress. While the introspective devotees and sages, they make in the meantime, they're using the valuable form of life and making spiritual progress. And when leaving this body, they will not get another material body, which is full of pains and miseries, but they will get the highest enjoyment in the spiritual world, either Vaikuntha or Goloka. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Or any comments? Amrita Rati Mataji.
Prabhu, thank you for a nice class. Basically, I was thinking that we were like, you know, like all beings, like the remaining beings, we were looking for sense gratification, but then somehow by some grace of the Supreme Lord, we were kind of uh, encouraged or pushed rather to start our introspection, that or we were kind of made to understand the temporary nature of sense gratification, and how there can be higher uh, higher pleasures, within. So basically we weren't really introspective sages, but somehow by some good fortune we came into the company of introspective sages who kind of showed us that that sense gratification will not give you lasting happiness. And there can be a deeper meaning in life by pursuing something higher. So that is one. Another thing I feel, that as sadhakas, so this aspect of introspection is very important, because many times we have heard, or we also know that there can be people who can be giving, eloquent classes, or dressing up as perfect devotees, or carrying them, knowing what to say, what not to say, but within their heart, uh, within our hearts, we may not have, enough faith in Krishna, or we may not have deep enough realizations. So I think it is very important for us to be introspective. We should evaluate what we are thinking, what we are desiring, and most importantly, I think we should align our desires to the true introspective sages. Like, for example, we know that Srila Prabhupada wanted to serve his spiritual master, and so he left India and came to the West. So we may not have such a desire, but we can try to align our desires. I think aligning our desires to introspective sages is very, very important. Otherwise, we'll be like very disappointed, because we will not get that higher taste or higher relish, or what do you call, higher nectar of those spiritual activities. We may superficially chant, or we may superficially offer grand aartis or bhogas, but if we don't align our desires to introspective, align our desires to the desires of introspective sages, I think we will miss the point. I think this is my understanding. Please guide me on this.
Yes, it is very important. Krishna consciousness or spiritual life is not just a religious formula, which many think. Many think it's just in all religion. If I just go to the church and do my bit, and that's enough. Ritualistic. We go to the temple, we offer our obeisances, and put a few pennies in the collection box, and then we just carry on our life as before. So that is not the idea. That may elevate us also, but after a very, very long time and many, many births until we have compiled enough pious credits. So we need to, as you said, introspective is very important. We have to look inside. It starts with, because we have to understand, who am I? I'm this person. I'm male. I'm English. I'm an IT professional. I'm belonging to this family. I'm a Hindu. I'm Christian. I'm English. I'm Indian. I'm so many. So that is, we have to go further. Who am I really? And we have spoken many times. A good exercise is last thing at night. We're lying in bed. Most people will not, except we are really, really tired. You're laying down and put a blanket over yourself and immediately fall asleep. Mostly not. It is a little bit of time before we actually fall asleep. So that is a very good time to, the mind is not stopping. It's not. We're laying down, the body is stopping. The body is not walking around anymore. We don't eat prasadam anymore. We don't move our hands. So the body is just like laying very still in the bed, not moving around. But the mind is not still. The mind is never still. So that is a good time when the body is still, not moving. Let's look at the mind. We can look at the mind. Most people don't know. Most people, they think they are the mind. We are not the mind. If we are the mind, something comes in the mind, I want this, then I have to get it. We are slave. We have to get it. The mind wants something or wants to go somewhere. We are pushed to do it. We're walking down the road and there's some nice smells in the restaurant and the mind comes up. Oh, come, get that. That will taste very nice. I will be very pleased. Then, okay, if we think we are the mind, then we say, I want this. If we are identifying with the mind, I want it. I must have it right now. But if we have learned, we are not the mind. We are different from the mind. And if we can, in our daily activities, the mind comes up with, I must have this. The mind is convincing us. We need this. We should have this. But if we are not the mind, then we put up the challenge. Okay, my dear mind. That we should say, my dear mind. You want this, but I don't think this is a good idea. You want to taste this food, and that is not even offerable. We cannot even offer to Krishna. And I have learned that if we eat food for our own sense enjoyment, we only eat sin. We get karmic reaction if it's not offered to the Lord. So we'll talk with the mind. And eventually, the mind will shut up. So I'm saying that if we're lying in bed just before we fall asleep, let's look what the mind is coming up with the different thoughts, with the different desires, with the different memories. The purpose of this exercise is to understand we are different from the mind. We can observe our own minds. So last thing at night, it's a good opportunity. In the day, it's much more difficult because everything is so busy. So therefore, when the body is not moving, it's a good opportunity to observe the mind. So who are we? We are this observer. We are the observer. It's easy to understand we are not the body, right? We are not the body. Point at your hand. This is my hand. Okay, my hand, right? So I'm the owner of the hand. We don't say I hand. I'm the hand. It's my hand. So like my car. I don't say I car. No, we know very well I'm different from the car. The car belongs to me. I'm a different person, and the car, that object, belongs to me. It's my possession. So my hand, we say my hand, not I hand, my hand. So the hand belongs to me. My leg, the leg belongs to me. My head, the head belongs to me. My brain, my mind. We don't say I mind. My mind, and mind belongs to me. That means I'm the possessor of the mind, the hand, the leg, and so on, and the head. So who am I? I'm different from the body, from the hand, the leg, the head. I'm different from the mind. So who am I? I'm the observer. So we get close to spiritual truth. We get close to the soul. I'm the observer. And that is in fact what we are. We are different. We are observing all that. We are observing our mind. So we must be different. So observer is also always different from the thing being observed. Like we're standing on the motorway bridge. We're observing the cars going by. That means I can observe the cars. I am different from the traffic. I can observe the cars. We observe the mind. I am different from the mind. But who are we? So this is spiritual evolution. We have to find out who we really are, what our relationship is with Krishna, and not only theoretically. Yes, I know Scripture says we are eternal servant of the Lord, and so on. We are spiritual sparks and so many things. Yes, but we have to realize that. We have to act according to that. Not only understand it theoretically, that's a good start, but there is no real value if we understand I'm not the mind, but then we don't practice. When the mind wants something, we immediately, yes, I'll give you whatever you want. No. So I'm not the intelligence either. I'm spirit soul. So these are some introspective topics, very important introspective. So we have to look inside, not so much what is outside. That outside, that happens anyway. That we do automatically, mechanically. Like driving a car becomes perhaps not at first, Amrita Radhimataji, driving the car is very capturing, but after some time you're getting used to driving the car. You're already used from India, but driving in the UK is a bit different. It's not just everybody goes whatever they think. So don't go in India, whatever. There are rules, but if people follow it or not, it also works. So, like driving the car becomes automatic. So our material duties of going to work, of doing our household chores, that all goes automatically. But introspective means in the association of devotees, just looking who we really are, looking what is our duty, advancing our spiritual consciousness, and desiring to not take another birth in this material world, and advancing in such a way we put that into practice. When we do that, chanting Hare Krishna is one of those items of putting into practice. Okay. Anything else? Introspective, very important. What was your first point, Amrita Radhimataji?
That we weren't introspective sages at first. We are like kind of induced introspective sages. Like Prabhupada just fed us with so many thoughts.
Yeah, get it. So how did that happen? You mentioned good fortune, yes. How did that happen? Because devotees are very, very compassionate to the people in material consciousness. Therefore, it is so important, this compassion which we have received. Someone was compassionate to us. Someone has planted the Bhakti Lada beach into our heart. Someone has functioned as a Varma Pradarshika Guru, as a Guru which introduced us to Krishna consciousness. Someone had mercy and compassion on us, and that will be different. The devotee who invited us first time to the temple, or the devotee gave us prasadam on Ratha Yatra, or whichever, so many different circumstances. But someone has pulled the trigger, so to speak. Someone. I know for myself, it was a woman, or a young girl at that time, I was also young, who gave me a Bhagavad Gītā. So how does that happen? Yes, I was living with a good number of other people. Anybody could have got this Bhagavad Gītā. No, it was me. So perhaps I had some interest in finding out the truth. I had, even before receiving the Bhagavad Gītā, I was searching for the truth. searching in various ways through psychology, through Buddhism, through this, through that, through meditation. I was searching for the truth. I was not satisfied of just being a materialistic sense enjoyer. I had that also for some time, yes. But I was searching deeper. I was searching for the truth. So, then this devotee, Mataji, just it was her beginning of, she wanted to stay with us in our group or commune or whatever you call it. And she went to town to get a few things. And then she came back and she said, "No, I'm not going to stay with you. I met the Hare Krishna devotees in town. I'm moving to the temple." So she was convinced by bumping into a devotee in the town or several devotees. And she thought, that's what I want, really. Not a commune of hippies. I want something. I want the Hare Krishna. So she got some book, Bhagavad Gītā, and some poster. And she said, okay, I joining the temple. So that is for you, Bhagavad Gītā. And a poster. So that was my being somehow as a push, being somehow as a... I was pushed before that, actually. I was in town and one devotee stopped me. I felt quite uncomfortable being stopped in town quite forcefully. He stood in my way and he said, "You must buy this single what we call it nowadays, not a CD, before the CDs. You put it on a gramophone. This single. They were distributing center. And he wanted a donation, and I, not really, he cornered me. And reluctantly, I gave him a donation and took that single, that disc. And I'm happy I took it because at home I put it on and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hamsa Dutta. And on the B side, there was Himavati, Tulasi Krishna. I couldn't stop playing this single day and night. It was so different. It was so attractive. So I got pushed to take this single and for my benefit, that is when my interest in Krishna consciousness really started. And then later on, I got the Bhagavad Gītā, and that was it. Sealed. My fate was sealed for this lifetime. Hare Krishna. So everybody has that. Good fortune. Yes, good fortune and some mercy, some compassion from a devotee. And it is our duty. We have received that compassion. Amit, there is a whole story how you came in contact. We have heard it somewhere, how you came in contact with Krishna consciousness for the first time. Amrita Radhe, Jayanti Bai, how, and myself. There's a whole story. So we receive the compassion and mercy. We have to give at least to someone else. We have to awaken at least one person. It can be our children, it can be any friend or stranger, somehow or other. That's our duty. That's our duty. Rashmi texted me today. She was saying, she was trying to understand why the parampara stopped. And Krishna had to re-establish the disciplic succession again. So she came up and said, because people were not distributing that knowledge anymore. Yes, and they were misinterpreting as well and not distributing anymore. So if we stop distributing that Krishna consciousness within one generation, Krishna consciousness has disappeared. If we all stop. So it is our sacred duty. We have received this Krishna consciousness. We must pass it on to at least one other person in our lifetime. At least. Possibly many, many more. Okay. Anything else? We're running late. Amit. Are you satisfied?
Yes, no, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, it was.
So that
Um,
verse, eternally, that verse is cleared up.
Yes.
Good. Amrita Radhimataji, are you satisfied?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
So let me know before next Wednesday if you had time to prepare for Bhagavad Gītā verse and send it to me at least the day before or in the morning of the same day. Which verse?
Okay,
And then you go ahead. Okay?
okay,
That
Prabhu,
is
Hare Krishna.
very nice. Thank you for being here, everybody. And Jayanti Bai and everybody else will see you on Saturday. Come on Saturday. We'll have a nice program. Amit, you not coming physically. You never came to the temple yet, but you join us on Zoom. And we're looking forward to you and Rituan joining us on Zoom. And Jayanti Bai, you come on Zoom. So let's have a nice program on Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.